So I guess the big question that we all have here is, what is JonesDao, right? So I think we kind of mentioned it. We talked about the hat, and this is for both of you. So how would you describe JonesDao and what you're building in more detail too?
Sure. So I think the best way to think about Jones is that there are a lot of opportunities that exist in DeFi, and some of them are a little difficult to kind of think through or to put together. Um, so what we try and do is we try and take some of these complex strategies and put them into something that's digestible for a lot of people. Um, we're pretty straightforward in what we're trying to accomplish when we build, which is that we would only build something that has a moat, meaning we don't want somebody to just come in and be able to kind of copy it and then just get away with building the exact same thing somewhere else. Um, we have a pretty rounded out group of individuals that contribute with us that have a pretty great background for building this type of stuff. Either they're TradFi folks or they're just kind of DeFi natives. They've been through multiple cycles. And so it's pretty humbling because this is my first kind of full cycle that I'm going through. So just kind of being coached by a lot of more experienced people around me. Um, but the idea is to build these yield bearing strategies that are easy to understand for your beginner in DeFi all the way through to some more complex folks that are out there. We have folks that are in our vaults who are in running funds, and we have folks that are in our vaults that ask us the most basic questions. And so it's just really important to have very good documentation, really try and explain things to folks in a way that they can understand. I think Shreddy pioneered something we're calling the smooth paper. We have our white papers, and then we have our smooth paper. Our smooth paper tries to make it a little bit easier.
Nice.
Um, but we're also very, very clear about what our goal and what our intent is when we build this stuff. So most recently, about 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago, we came out with something called JRA. So JRA is a strategy on mainnet. It's our first mainnet strategy. We've been on Arbitrum exclusively up until now. Um, Before that, we had put out something called JGLP and JUSDC, which are pretty exciting opportunities, I think. But um, they're very complex in the way that they work. And, just over time, we've gotten more and more I think, an edge against, I would say maybe our closest competition is probably Yearn, but it seems like Yearn is very, um, I always like to say that we're like Yearn if Yearn maybe was hungry, right? They've got a pretty sizable amount of treasury and tokens that they don't necessarily need to be as hungry in the space as we are. But we're not the smallest protocol, we're not the biggest protocol. Um, I think we've done pretty well for ourselves, but I think one thing that maybe separates us from a lot of others is that we're just continuously shipping, and so we're going to be coming out with MetaVaults V2 very, very, very soon. I think we've got an MVP hopefully coming out this week. And then just a lot of partnerships, and collaborations. And we'll talk about hopefully the distinction between a partnership and a collaboration, because there is a really important one, and you have to be very careful about those type of things. But yeah, that's kind of
Definitely.
that's kind of Jones in a nutshell. It's really just it's yield and options and other kinds of strategies made simple, and that's what we want it to be.